For my final project, I created three different robot morphologies: the quadruped, a hexapod with a rigid body, a hexapod with a hinged body. The fitness value was the distance the robot traveled in the negative x direction. The first hexapod had three legs on each side and an extended, rigid body. The lower legs moved in the x direction. The second hexapod had two legs on each side and an additional leg in the front and the back. The body was made of two cubes that were connected by a hinge joint. For fairness, the quadruped was changed so all lower legs moved in the x direction as well. During each of 5 runs, the best fitness value for each parent was saved. All of the parents in each generation were averaged, and then all of the runs were averaged again to produce a more accurate comparison between the three morphologies. As can be seen, before evolution, the quadruped does not move well, though it is able to move a small amount in the negative x direction. However, after 5 robots were evolved for 50 generations, it was able to move much further. In the first generation, the basic hexapod is barely able to move in the correct direction. After evolution, it is able to find a rhythm that results in actual forward movement in the negative x direction and is able to get relatively far. The hinged hexapod is able to move slightly in the correct direction in the first generation, but after evolution, it moves much further. The fitness curve for the quadruped shows evolution of all populations over the generations. This is the best run for the quadruped, which achieved a final fitness of around -11. The rigid-bodied hexapod shows clear evolution, though one of the populations improved vastly more than the others. The best fitness achieved was around -7.5. The hinged hexapod shows the clearest evolution. Each population shows improvement over the generations. The best fitness achieved was around -6.5. From the average fitness, it is clear that the rigid hexapod performed the worst. The hinged hexapod performs best at first, but by 50 generations, the quadruped and hinged hexapod performed on average the same. The simplest part of the assignment was creating three different morphologies and creating fitness comparisons. It was harder to decide on the rotation of the leg joints that would result in the best movement. Ultimately, the lower legs moving in the x direction was picked for the rigid hexapod to avoid crab walking, and the other morphologies were picked for fairness. If I were to continue this project, I would want to change the rotation of the limbs to allow movement in more than one direction. With the additional complexity of the limb rotation, I would add hidden layers to the neural network so it can find more complex solutions. I would also change the angle at which limbs attach to the body and the shape of the body. Additionally, I would save the neural network controlling the robot between runs so certain well-performing networks can be evolved. Finally, I would expand the population size, number of generations, and number of runs done. As this is limited by the computational power of my laptop, I would utilize the VACC to do this.